Would you take Yvonne and Kelly? What? Mireille laughed lightly, then continued in her usual calm tone. Guess it's hard to remarry with kids in tow, Mireille said, chuckling loudly. I'll leave the kids with developmental disorder to the poor old lady who didn't finish school. I couldn't believe it as a mother myself, not only looking down on me but also calling her own daughters such names and trying to push them away without any regrets. Honestly, I wanted to slap her glittering, made-up cheeks. But doing that would probably just give her a way to use it against me. I will take care of them. It was hard for me to even say that. Even if she is the real mother of Yvonne and Kelly, I would be better than such a selfish person. In place of Kengo who passed away, to pour endless love on them and make them happy. I swore to myself. I am Natalie Smith, a 56-year-old housewife. Since my husband passed away from illness the other day, I have been living alone in this big house. I never thought I would be widowed so soon. The separation came so suddenly that I can't even find the motivation to do any housework. It seems he was concerned about me. My eldest son Ken, who lives in the same city, came up with this suggestion. If you're okay with it, Mom, why don't we live together? Yvonne and Kelly would be thrilled. Yvonne and Kelly are Ken's twin daughters, my dear granddaughters. I was genuinely happy about Ken's suggestion. But I knew it was impossible. Because for some reason, Mireille, Ken's wife, doesn't like me. Thank you. That's enough for me. Sorry to worry you. If we were to discuss living together, Mireille would surely be vehemently against it. Even if she accepted, a clash would be inevitable at some point. I can't cause trouble between my eldest son and his wife because of me. If I stay down too long, I'll make Ken worried again. I have to pull myself together. I somehow managed to motivate myself and gradually got back to my daily routine. They must have been concerned about me, still. My eldest son's family visited our house often. Of course, without Mireille. Mireille is busy. Ken said hesitantly, but I figured she probably just didn't want to come. Grandma, let's draw together. I can draw nicely 'cause I am 8 years old. Well, this should be fun. I feel sorry for Mireille. But the time with my dear grandkids and Ken was a lot of fun. The following weekend, as usual, my eldest son's family came over. I opened the door with a smile and froze. Unusually, Mireille was among them. Mireille, good of you to come. Thank you. I smiled, surprised, and Mireille nodded silently with a stern face. She clearly looked displeased, but then why did she come? Maybe she's here to complain that I've been letting Ken and the kids come over too much. I've relied on Ken's kindness too much. When we're alone, I need to tell Ken, you don't have to come anymore. That's what I was thinking, but it's hard to find the right moment to talk to Ken. Daddy! Come here! Dad. Yvonne took Kelly's pen. Ken seems busy settling a fight between Yvonne and Kelly. As a grandmother, a little mischief from the grandkids is cute, but it's tough on the parents. Remembering my own parenting days, I can't help but smile. Next to me, Mireille muttered. What about the inheritance? What? Caught off guard by the unexpected question, I blinked, and Mireille repeated in a slightly irritated tone. So it's about my father-in-law's inheritance. When am I gonna get my share? Inheritance? I didn't know how to respond. After all, I had already given Ken, my eldest son, his share. Hasn't Ken told you? I already handed it over. As I carefully chose my words, Mireille's expression grew even more irritated, and she raised her voice. I only got Ken's portion. I'm asking when I'll get mine. I've waited long enough, so I had to come and get it myself. Life insurance, savings, stocks. Didn't Dad save up a lot? Mireille said this, arms crossed and frowning. But I'm the one who should be frowning. Mireille, my eldest son's wife, shouldn't even have a share. We weren't close while my husband was alive. We only met mostly on holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving. Even when my eldest son's family came to visit, it was mostly without Mireille. Unless it was mentioned in my husband's will, it's hard to imagine he made provisions for Mireille, whom we hardly knew. Look, Mireille. I'm sorry, but as a daughter-in-law, you don't have a share in the inheritance. Huh? Really? Even though I'm his daughter? Where does her confidence come from? Mireille looked genuinely shocked. She never cared for her father-in-law or did anything daughter-like, yet I'm the one surprised. Even though you say daughter, you're only related by marriage. What the heck? It's so annoying. You get my hopes up for nothing. This is ridiculous. I lost my time coming here. Upon learning she had no share, Mireille clicked her tongue and punched the nearby wall. The noise made Ken and the grandchildren turn around. Then Mireille snapped. Enough with the yelling. You guys really need to calm down. Cut it out. Come on, we're leaving. What? But we just got here. Yeah, Mom, you go back alone. The grandchildren raised their complaints, but Mireille glared at them and stormed out saying, I don't care anymore. Left behind, Ken sighed again. And began preparing to leave. The grandkids were sulking, but after some persuasion from Ken, they reluctantly followed Mireille, and my eldest son's family left. I always thought she was a bit strong-willed, but was she always this bad? She always acts impulsively, letting her emotions run wild and ignoring others around her based on her mood. I'm worried about Ken and the grandkids in such a situation. Even without considering me, I can't see how they can build a good family environment like this. Ken must have his own thoughts about it too. Someday, I'd like to have a calm talk with Ken. Whether it's about money, taking care of Yvonne and Kelly, or anything else, I want to help. I'll offer the next time we meet. Despite these thoughts, a few days later, I received news that I couldn't believe. It happened in an instant. On his way home from work, Ken was killed in a collision with a truck. No, it can't be. It's only been a few months since my husband died, and now Ken too has left this world. I was so devastated that I just collapsed. At that point, nothing else mattered. Why Ken? His kids are still so young. All sorts of dreadful thoughts were swirling around in my mind. The shock was so great that I barely remember the wake or the funeral. When things had somewhat settled down, Mireille approached me. About the kids, can we talk for a bit? It was about Yvonne and Kelly. That's right, I was so caught up in my own grief that I hadn't been there for them. I think I tried to comfort and hug them, but I don't remember well. Yvonne and Kelly must be emotionally unstable after their father's sudden death. They are only 8 years old after all. I felt ashamed of myself for just being down. Mireille must be thinking about the future as a mother. She's much more together than I am. I absolutely want Yvonne and Kelly, whom Ken left behind, to be happy. I intend to help in any way I can for that. About the kids. Yes, anything. I looked into Mireille's eyes and nodded firmly. Even if we don't share the same values or personalities, we can surely get along for a common purpose. However, what Mireille said next was the complete opposite of what I expected. Could you take Yvonne and Kelly? What? Mireille gave a slight laugh and continued dispassionately. Being remarried is tough with kids in tow. Remarried? Ken has just passed away, and this woman, his wife, is already thinking about remarriage? I stared at Mireille in astonishment. Unaware of my disdainful gaze, she kept talking. Look, Yvonne and Kelly are a bit off, right? They've been hard to raise. Off? What do you mean? While both are a bit mischievous, I've never thought of it as something wrong. Mireille scoffed at me through her nose. You haven't noticed, huh? Grandma is blissfully ignorant. Well, I guess things like developmental disorders weren't recognized in your time. Developmental disorders. I don't know much about it, but I've heard of it. Difficulties in communication, learning, and daily life are common. I think I saw a feature on TV about it. Are Yvonne and Kelly diagnosed with developmental disorders? They haven't been diagnosed, but Ken wanted to get it checked. I stopped him though. It's embarrassing, right? That's not right. I don't know much about developmental disorders. I've only seen Yvonne and Kelly when they visit, and never had any reason to suspect anything. I've heard that early intervention can make life easier for those with developmental disorders. Mireille deprived them of that opportunity just because she felt embarrassed. Mireille! Are you even a mother? My voice raised unintentionally. Mireille looked at me trembling, with cold eyes. Well, you wouldn't understand, would you? To blurt out something as embarrassing as being a poor dropout. What? I could feel my face heating up. Seeing this, Mireille's lips curled up in pleasure. Ah. You do get embarrassed. Wow, that's unexpected. I thought you didn't care at all. Her words made my face grow even hotter. I was raised by a single mother. I managed to graduate middle school, but dropped out during high school when my mother fell ill and we struggled financially. I started working through connections, so my highest education level is middle school. When Mireille was worried about her own education before she married my son, I told her about my education to support her. I thought it was helpful, but maybe I shouldn't have mentioned it. This anger is because you mocked me, not because I'm embarrassed about being a dropout. Ah, is that so? Well, great then. If you're shameless, you can take care of those kids, right? Mireille chuckled loudly as she said this. I'll leave the kids with developmental disorders to the poor dropout. I couldn't believe she was a mother too. Not only looking down on me, but also calling her own daughters names and trying to push them away without any regrets. Honestly, I wanted to slap her glittering, made-up cheeks. But knowing her, doing that could end up being used against me. Then I will raise them. It was hard for me to even say that. Hearing my answer, Mireille said good, with a satisfied look and left. Even if Mireille is the real mother of Yvonne and Kelly, I would be better than such a selfish person. On behalf of Ken, who passed away leaving the two behind, I am determined to shower them with limitless love and make them absolutely happy. In my heart, I quietly made a solemn promise to myself. Later, after going through the necessary procedures, Yvonne and Kelly officially came to live with me. Although I decided to raise them in place of Ken, I was inwardly nervous. I had moved forward without really asking how Yvonne and Kelly felt about it. Is it okay if from now on, instead of living with Mom, it's just me, Yvonne, and Kelly together? I asked, and both nodded. But I couldn't tell what they truly felt. I think they had warmed up to me. Still, if they had to choose between their real mother and me, I wasn't confident they would choose me. But I can't leave Yvonne and Kelly with Mireille after she said such things. On top of losing their father, Ken, the burden of living with their grandmother might be too much for the two little ones. At least, I have to make their life as comfortable and secure as possible. Fortunately, I had both the time and the financial means. Being a stay-at-home wife originally, I was flexible with my time, and thanks to the money left by my husband, I didn't have to worry about our living expenses. However, the word developmental disorders that Mireille mentioned stayed in the back of my mind. I had done some reading, and it seems that supporting children with developmental disorders requires a lot of patience and can be very challenging. Moreover, Yvonne and Kelly are twins. Everything is double. What if they have tantrums that I can't handle? Despite all my worries, our life together began without clear answers. Initially, Yvonne and Kelly were unstable. They were probably bewildered by the change in environment. Sometimes they would wake up at night and being unusually irritable. What if they continue to act out? They are still young and not fully able to understand if explained. I was anxious, but gradually the two began to settle down. In fact, after living together for over a year, they started to voluntarily help around the house. Both were eager to find things they could do. Whenever I found them doing well, I made sure to praise them. Yvonne is really good at folding laundry. You align the corners so neatly, it feels great to put them away. Kelly, you wash the dishes so quickly and without leaving anything behind. I'm amazed at how well you do it. Thank you, Yvonne and Kelly. Then, they would smile happily and hug me. Their expressions and actions were so adorable, I couldn't help but praise them again. Oh my, how can you two be so cute? Yay! Maybe because we're your grandkids? We love you, Grandma. They no longer had tantrums and had calmed down from their previously mischievous behavior. At a parent-teacher conference, their teacher said as much. Honestly, I'm surprised. They have calmed down so much compared to last year. Problem behaviors? None at all. According to their previous teacher, there used to be lots of issues and notes needed. But now, they play well with other kids and seem to be having fun. Was it just the passage of time? Anyway, they were doing well. I was relieved that. Since taking in Yvonne and Kelly, I hadn't heard from Mireille at all. Doesn't she even wonder a little about her daughter's current situation? What their daily life is like now? How they are growing? A mother would want to see these things with her own eyes. If Mireille ever reached out wanting to meet, as long as Yvonne and Kelly didn't object, I was prepared to let them meet. It might have been an imposed arrangement, but I had no intention of taking her daughters away from her. However, not even a single email or phone call from her ever came. On the other hand, Yvonne and Kelly never mentioned her name either. But I didn't know when they might start missing her. If they ever asked, I was ready to handle it. Though I was prepared for that, Mireille's name never came up, and before I knew it, 10 years had passed. Yvonne and Kelly turned 18 and both decided to go to college. Yvonne, who was good at sports, showcased her tennis skills she started in high school and got into a college with a strong tennis team on a sports scholarship. Kelly, interested in medicine, worked hard at her studies and decided to go to the same university as Yvonne, enrolling in the medical school. I was very proud that the two of them had chosen their own paths. But at the same time, I felt a bit lonely. The little Yvonne and Kelly had grown up so much and would become even more independent, living on their own. I was happy they had grown up so well. Yet, it was sad to see them fly the nest. When they left home for college, the three of us hugged and cried together. Both of you, contact me immediately if anything happens. I'll come running. Thanks. You should worry about yourself, Mom. We'll come home during the long breaks. And we'll call too. Don't push yourself. Remember, you're not young anymore, they said. At some point, they both started calling me Mom. I felt it was presumptuous and tried to correct them, but they insisted, but to us, you are the only mom and wouldn't hear otherwise, and so it has remained. Yes. Thank you. Yvonne and Kelly, you both make me so proud. Even after starting college, the two of them seemed to be doing well. Yvonne competed in the national tennis championships, and Kelly maintained top grades. They truly had grown up splendidly. Just as I was deeply moved by how soon they'd be fully independent, I received an unexpected call. It was from Mireille. It's been a while. Though I had forgotten her voice, hearing her unique way of speaking brought her face flooding back to my mind. It's been a while. What can I do for you? I could hear Mireille chuckling on the other end of the phone. Don't be so tense. I just wanted to say thank you to my mother-in-law. Thank you? For what? For Yvonne and Kelly. Mireille was in an exceptionally good mood. They seemed to have turned out quite impressive. A national athlete and a top-performing future doctor. As their mother, I couldn't be prouder. After having abandoned her daughters so easily, her playing the mother now was infuriating. I nearly snapped back reflexively, but managed to hold it in. More importantly, I wondered how Mireille knew about the girls. How do you know about them? You haven't met them, have you? Were they meeting her secretly without telling me? When I nervously asked, Mireille denied it. No way. I just happened to see it on social media. At first, I didn't recognize them just by their faces, but then I read Miracle Twins and was like, that's Yvonne and Kelly. I was so surprised. She didn't seem to be lying. I don't use social media, so I hadn't known. Actually, my current boyfriend runs a video site, and he wants to feature them. What? So, can I have their contact information? After more than 10 years without a word, this is what she says. She wants to turn Yvonne and Kelly into a spectacle. I wanted her to stop joking around. I'll have to ask them. I can't just give it out. It's okay. I'm their mother, right? They'll definitely be happy. No, I can't without their consent. Mireille seemed annoyed and fell silent for a moment. Then she casually started speaking again. Fine. Ask them soon. If you don't, I'll keep calling you. Understood. I was reluctant, but it was true that Mireille was their mother. It's about them, so it's fine. They're sure to say no. I reassured myself and contacted Yvonne and Kelly. Their reply came quickly, but it confused me. Send me the ID for the messaging app. I have something I want to talk about too. Yvonne said she'd get in touch, so I didn't think it was necessary, but if you're giving out mine too, just use the messaging app. As a result, both agreed it was okay to share their contact information. This was unexpected for me. There was nothing I could do. Despite feeling uneasy, I gave Mireille Yvonne's ID. Thank you. That reply marked the end of our exchange. That night, Yvonne contacted me. I'm going to meet her soon. Just letting you know, Mom. What? With Mireille? Why, when? Next Sunday. Kelly will be there too, so it's fine. Yvonne said it casually. She showed no signs of nervousness or confusion. Then it wasn't my place to interfere. But I couldn't help myself. Can I come too? Sure, but it's near our college, which is far for you. I won't interfere. I could just watch from a distance. I didn't know what Mireille had told them, but as she mentioned, her current boyfriend might come along. If Mireille tried anything, I wanted to be close enough to respond quickly. Mom, you worry too much. I'll let you know the time and place once it's confirmed. Thank you. The next day, after Yvonne contacted me, I started making preparations. On the day they were to meet Mireille, I had traveled all the way to their college in Kentucky by train. They were supposed to meet in the afternoon, so we met in the morning, had lunch, and spent some relaxing time together. It's about time. Shall we go? Mireille had chosen a park near the university. While the girls waited at a cafe in the park, I sat on a nearby bench to keep watch. Mireille showed up about 30 minutes late. A man I didn't recognize was with her. Probably her current boyfriend. Before they even met up, the man had something like a handheld camera ready. Long time no see. Yvonne. Kelly. I missed you guys. Even after 10 years, I can recognize you at a glance. My precious treasures. With a dreamy voice, Mireille rushed towards the two to hug them. It seemed like a reunion after more than 10 years of separation. The man aimed the camera to not miss a moment. Just as Mireille was about to touch Kelly, she quickly stepped back, leaving Mireille's arms embracing empty air. Huh? Kelly. What are you doing? You haven't forgotten, have you? It's Mommy, you know? Mireille blinked in disbelief. While the man beside her still had the camera ready, he seemed puzzled. What you're doing should be my question, right? After more than 10 years, we're practically strangers. Yet, to hug each other right after meeting, that's just weird. Kelly said with a sigh, causing Mireille's face to turn red with embarrassment. Kelly. I'm saddened by this. Is it because of your mother's influence? When did you become so rude? The Kelly I know is supposed to be more like me, a kinderchild. Mireille said, her face reddening. Watching this, Yvonne chuckled, and Mireille turned back with a blush. Hey. Yvonne. What's so funny about this? Well, you see, you just don't get it at all. What? Frowning, Mireille demanded an answer, and Yvonne calmly replied. I'm Yvonne. The one you've been talking to is Kelly. Can you tell at a glance? What do you understand? Oh. Mireille fell silent, grinding her teeth. To me, the difference between Yvonne and Kelly was clear at a glance, but being twins, it seemed they couldn't be easily distinguished. Mireille looked frustrated, as if she were about to erupt, but after being whispered to by the man, she regained her composure. "I'm sorry. It's been a while, so I made a mistake. But I'm happy to see you both," Mireille said with a smile, trying to lighten the mood. Approaching Yvonne and Kelly, she reached out her hand. But the two quickly brushed it off. For a moment, Mireille's face twisted, but she quickly returned to her forced smile. "That's mean. But I guess that's how it is. Are you guys feeling shy?" "Well, I guess that's understandable," Mireille said, as if making excuses, to the camera. Yvonne suddenly pointed at the camera. "Is this live streaming? You guys are the ones who upload couple videos, right?" Upon Yvonne's observation, Kelly's face lit up with excitement. "Yes. That's right. You knew about it? I'm thrilled." "You always go viral with controversial topics, don't you?" I was surprised when my friends showed me. "It's so trivial." "Huh?" Ignoring Mireille's furrowed brow, Kelly also agreed with Yvonne. "Me too. I thought it was so cliché and embarrassing to watch. Acting all lovey-dovey, gossiping about others, always stirring up controversies. If it were me, I'd be too embarrassed to do it." What did you say?" Mireille trembled with rage, her face contorted in fury. "And lately, even when aiming for controversial topics on the edge, you're not getting any buzz at all. So, what? You're desperate and you thought you'd somehow get popular by leeching off us. Hey, don't you feel sick just parasitizing off others?" "Shut up. You. Oh. Yvonne." With a loud bang, as if echoing, followed by a delayed burning sensation in my cheek. I collapsed on the spot, overwhelmed by the force. "Mom!" Yvonne and Kelly both knelt beside me. Mireille pointed at us and hysterically screamed profanities. "Abandoned by me, raised by a poor high school graduate hag. Acting all high and mighty. You have no right. You think you can get popular just because of this situation. You're just taking advantage of it. Even though you're mentally disabled. You're going to decline in the future anyway." She ranted furiously, breathing heavily. Then, as her eyes met the man's, her face turned pale. "Oh, this is not. It's not like that. I just lost my temper, it's not what I truly meant." "You say it's not what you truly meant, yet you can say such terrible things so smoothly." As I struggled to stand up, Mireille looked flustered. "I'm so glad you gave me these kids. I'm really grateful for that. Oh, this person is treating children like objects." Due to the guilt of having a camera present, Mireille nervously glanced around. "Oh, so you said it. You'll give the developmentally challenged kids away to a poor, high school dropout hag." "Don't say that in front of them. These kids are smart, so they understand everything. They know that you've treated them like nuisances and only seen them as useful tools. That's why both Yvonne and Kelly were more attached to Ken. If I had known they would turn out this great, I would have raised them myself. You're just trying to take credit for it. Who do you think you are? That's not true." "No, it's not." Yvonne and Kelly stood in front of me, as if protecting me. "If you had raised us, we wouldn't have had such fulfilling lives." "You wouldn't know that." "I do. At the time, Dad was busy, so we spent more time with you, and we were acting out." According to the two of them, Mireille had almost neglected them, not bothering to listen to them even when they came home from school. At that time, I was trying to get your attention, so I was always causing troubles. But it's different since we've been living with Mom. Yeah. Mom actually looked after us. Yvonne. Kelly. Smiling and looking at us, they tightly held my hand. "You entrusted us to Mom. That's the only thing I'm grateful to you for." "What are you saying? I'm your mom, right? I'm the one who gave birth to you. She's just a hag, right? As Mireille heated up, she grabbed my collar, but she was stopped by a police officer who appeared from somewhere. It seems that people around, who had witnessed the commotion, called them. Don't come near us again, ever. Well, that won't be a concern for a while. As Mireille was restrained by the police officer and the man, she glared at the two of them resentfully. Later, Mireille and the man were cautioned at the police station. This was because, despite it requires a permit for filming in that park, they had been streaming without it. Also, it seems that they had perfectly captured the scenes of Mireille slapping me and hurling insults, as the account was deleted. Originally, they had a fair number of followers, and Mireille and the man were identified by their address and ended up having to move due to harassment from their surroundings. With the account deleted, they lost their income, so they are barely managing to live by borrowing money from a finance company. However, there seems to be no prospect of repayment, and they were caught up in debt collection, working while panting. It's truly a case of reaping what one sows. After what happened, I was worried about whether Yvonne and Kelly were okay mentally, but they both seemed unfazed. I don't care about anything that woman says. Yeah, exactly. Our mom is our mom, period. Frankly, I feel relieved that we don't have to deal with them anymore. It's really reassuring. Even though they're living separately now, every long break they come back and pester me to cook for them. They're so adorable, and it makes me happy that they're so open about needing me. I feel like I need to live a long life to continue watching over their future.